Hi, my name is Luke Barrow from Leadership Lexington Youth. You're listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9, LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Treat me sweet and gentle when you say goodnight. Just squeeze me, but please don't tease me. I get sentimental when you hold me tight. Just squeeze me, but please don't tease me. Missing you since you went away, singing the blues away each day, counting the nights and waiting for you. I'm in the mood to let you know I never knew I loved you so. Please say you love me too. When I feeling I'm in ecstasy, so squeeze me, but please don't tease me. Yes, it just me, but please don't you tease me.
Hi, I'm Maya from the Salad Bar, located in the Julietta Market at Greyline Station on the corner of Ladin and Lime. You are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM Lexington.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to me on the radio, you can check out the Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can check out the show from the website at radiolex.us. I am broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. It is May the 4th, 2023, 4 o'clock to be exact. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a new month, the month of May, May the 4th. Some people call this Star Wars Day because May the 4th be with you. I think that's the cheesiest thing I've ever heard. I was never a Star Wars fan, so I don't understand the fans that do enjoy it and do like it. For all you nerds out there, happy 4th of July. And I say that, or 4th of July, happy May the 4th, and May the 4th be with you. I can say, and I can call you nerds because I'm one myself. My nerdum might not come from Star Wars, but I like wrestling. And a lot of people say that wrestling is a nerdy thing to watch. So I'm guilty. Guilty as charged if wrestling is a nerdy thing to watch, because the Lord God in heaven knows that I enjoy that. But it is May, folks, and you know what that means. Here on Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, just like we do every month, it's time for me to give you some month of May facts. Now, the sad part about this is the last month that we will be doing the facts, because we've covered every month. We started this last year in June, believe it or not, and we have covered every month in facts since then. So from June, July, August, all the way up until now, I've covered the facts of each month. And this is the last month that we have to do facts over. So, folks, May is the 5th month of the year, and it has 31 days. I enjoy May. It's a great month because school is out, and as a college professor, that's when my summer vacation begins. So I always get really excited for the month of May. So May the 5th, which is coming up tomorrow, that is Cinco de Mayo Day, and that day celebrates the victory of the Mexican army over the French army at the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Now, here in America, we love to celebrate Cinco de Mayo for some reason. It has nothing to do with us, but we, here in America, we Americans like to find reasons to celebrate. Go out and celebrate, party, socialize. That's what we do here in this country. And Cinco de Mayo, even though it has nothing to do with Americans, we still go out and celebrate it. So get you some good Mexican food tomorrow on May the 5th. May the 14th is Mother's Day. May the 20th is Armed Force Day, which honors those who serve in all branches of the United States military. Now, a lot of people go back and forth on what Memorial Day is. Is Memorial Day to celebrate the loss of anyone who's ever lived? I know in Eastern Kentucky, it's a big tradition to go decorate the graves of loved ones. But Memorial Day truly originated from it's a celebration of the people who died in the military. It's to celebrate their lives. So that's what Memorial Day started out as. Now, whether or not it has continued to that, it beats me. I think it's based off the culture and based off the area that you're in. May the 22nd is Victoria Day in Canada, and that holiday celebrates the birthday of Queen Victoria, who was born on May the 24th, 1819. May the 29th is Memorial Day. That's right. So Armed Forces Day honors those who serve in all branches of the military, not those who died. Memorial Day is when you are there to celebrate the lives of the people who lived, that went to the war and passed. Those who died in service, pretty much. May is Get Caught Reading Month and National Good Car Keeping Month. It's National Strawberry Month. It's National Pet Month. And it's National Smile Month. So a lot of things to celebrate here in May. Here are some holidays that have already passed. May the 1st, we had School Principals Day, which is a very important position in education. I think that when I was growing up, I had an outstanding principal. He was a very quiet man, very small stature, but he had the respect of all of those kids, all of the staff, all of the faculty, and you have to appreciate a good principal. I think an elementary and middle school principal is one of the most important positions in the country because of the impact and the influence that they can have on kids. Now, that's not to say that high school principals aren't. They certainly are. But the foundation of our learning starts in elementary school. May the 2nd was World Tuna Day. Of course, I already opened the show with May 4th being Star Wars Day. May the 6th, which is this Saturday, is the Kentucky Derby, which we'll talk about later on in the show. May the 7th is National Space Day. May the 8th is No Socks Day. May the 10th is Root Canal Appreciation Day. Also on May the 10th, it's National Cactus Day. The interesting thing about cactuses is that if you buy a cactus, cactuses do not die. So if you want something to live forever, get a cactus. May the 14th is Dance Like a Chicken Day, and May 28th, Slugs Return from Capistrano Day. The May zodiac signs, Taurus. If you are a Taurus, if you were born from April the 21st to May the 20th, you are a Gemini if you were born on May the 21st to June the 20th. The May birth symbols, so you have the May birth flowers, which is the hawthorn and the lily of the valley. The hawthorn means hope, while the lily of the valley symbolizes sweetness or the return of happiness. The birthstone for May is emerald. I think of the Emerald City when I think of that, but that is the birthstone of May. The Empire State Building opened its doors on May the 1st, 1931. May is a pretty good month for U.S. presidents. Every other month of the year, at least one U.S. president has died, but a president has never died in May. Now let's knock on wood that that still doesn't occur, because my man Jimmy Carter is knocking on the door of 99 years old. He's currently 98, so we don't want nothing to happen to him. Many famous people were born in May, such as Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook and creator, Karl Marx, Clint Eastwood, Wes Anderson, John F. Kennedy, Queen Victoria, and Catherine the Great. So a lot of great famous birthdays born here in May, a lot of interesting things that happened in May. But that, folks, pretty much wraps up the month of May facts. May, if you're looking at some of my favorite months of the year, May is right up in there because, like I said, the school year is over, summer is about to begin, and everybody is getting outside for the first time after being locked away in hibernation because of the cold weather. So I do enjoy May, and that is some May facts for your day. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show ahead of you today, so stick with us. We'll be right back after these words.
Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky. Radio Lex has the support of vinyl sponsor Ron Gray. Thanks, Ron.
Si rahisi kila wakati kuzingatia afya yangu. Mimi huwa na shughuli nyingi kwa ajili ya familia yangu na kusaidia jamii yangu. Ila najua nikijijali ndiyo njia bora ya afya njema kwa wapendwa wangu. Tuiweke jamii yetu salama. Usisubiri hadi uwe mgonjwa ili uone daktari. Kuwa mwangalifu, chukua hatua. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Radio Lex, kituo cha radio cha jamii yetu. Pata maelezo zaidi kwa radiolex.us.
Let's go places safely, Lexington. Traffic crashes are the leading cause of death and disability in children. Are your kids as safe as they can be in your car? 12 and under should be in the back seat. 2 and under should be in rear-facing car seats. Children shorter than 3.5 feet should be in car seats. Booster seats should be used until the age of 8 or until your child is 57 inches tall. Car seats should be replaced after 6 years of use. Hi, I'm Amy from Toyota, reminding you to protect your precious cargo and follow child restraint laws.
back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. The theme song from the hit reality show Cops. Such a great song. You hear this song, you know it's going to be an interesting show, no doubt, because you are watching reality TV. This show, Cops, has been on ever since I've been a child. I grew up watching this show, and it's fascinating because it's a show where cameras follow police officers around, and it shows some of the most intense police criminal interactions that are out there. But one of the best things about this reality show, Cops, is the theme song, Bad Boys. And folks, if you haven't guessed it by now, you've probably already guessed what I'm going to talk about. That's right. The most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. And we'll have to start with this one, Cops. Now, reality TV, I'm a huge fan of. That's my guilty pleasure. It's been around for years, but over the last 15 years, reality TV has taken over television because, let's face it, reality is more interesting and more entertaining than scripted television. Now, Cops was one of the first reality shows that was ever out there. Now, keep in mind, reality is supposed to mean exactly what it says. It's supposed to be non-scripted. It's supposed to be not fake. Now, we know that a lot of reality shows, for the most part, are a little scripted. At least I always like to think they're not scripted, but we all know that they are. But you have certain shows like this one, Cops. It don't have a script. It's actual real-life police officers going out and interacting with the public. You see police car chases. You see home invasions from cops breaking into people's homes to take them down. A lot of interesting things. And Cops, as a matter of fact, is still on television today. This theme song for Cops, Bad Boys, performed by reggae group Inner Circle, is played at the beginning of each episode. The show is currently in its 35th season, and it premiered on Fox Television in 1989. They follow cops from the state police, they follow cops from the city police, all different units of the police force they cover. Whoever just has the most interesting camera footage to show. You hear this song, you can't help but think about Cops. That's why I have to start the list with this as being one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. But folks, if we're talking about reality television shows, we have to go back to some of the most popular reality shows that ever existed. Because I have compiled a list of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. And in order to make this list, I feel like that the majority of people at home have to have heard of the show that I'm going to play. Now, we all know that there's age gaps between everybody that listens to this show. There's 20-year-olds, there's 30-year-olds, there's 50-year-olds, 70-year-olds that listen to this show that may listen and think, well, I've never heard of that reality show. Well, it was a little past your time, but if you hang on long enough, you may recognize a song from the past or maybe a song from your era, like Cops. You will be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't know or recognize the theme song of Cops. But let's go back into the time machine and look at some of the great reality shows that have existed throughout the years. And I'm just going to be playing the most iconic reality show theme songs. Now, these shows that I'm going to play just so happen to be also great reality shows altogether, but their theme songs made them that much better. So we started the list off with Cops. Let's continue the list with this one. This theme song is from the hit reality television show, The Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica, which aired from August 2003 to March 2005, with a total of 40 episodes over the course of 3 seasons. This reality show focused on the relationship of Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson. This show was a trailblazer for reality TV. This was one of the first reality shows that chronicled the lives of just people in their everyday lives. These people, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, were one of the first couples in history to ever allow cameras into their home to be filmed every day. Now, we know that they were put in situations to make the show more entertaining, but it was still somewhat reality. Unfortunately, the couple is not together anymore, and as a matter of fact, a lot of reality couples that have done reality shows, they don't last. There's got to be something behind that reality couples don't last. I would say that it's probably tough to allow cameras into your home and let the whole world watch you and judge you and make assumptions and make opinions about your marriage. You hear all that noise every single day that has to weigh on the marriage. This show was definitely iconic, and so was its theme song. The theme song is called This I Swear by Nick Lachey. It was his second single from his debut album Solo. The ballad and lyrics is supposed to be about how he feels about his wife, Jessica Simpson. So this song was made the theme song of the reality show. It was a good show. It really was. Jessica Simpson was catapulted to the moon after this show. She played the dumb blonde, and everybody loved her. She became so likable that this show made their careers. Yeah, Nick Lachey was famous from 98 Degrees. Jessica Simpson had a small music career. But this reality show 100% put them on the map. This theme song, This I Swear, reached number 11 on the Billboard Bubbling Hot 100. But despite being heavily promoted, the single became Lachey's second single to not chart on the Billboard Hot 100. I'm still going to have to put it on there as one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time because it's so recognizable, because everybody back in the early 2000s, at least in their 20s, watched the Newlyweds. All right, coming up next on the list is another show that exists because of the Newlyweds. And if it wasn't for the Newlyweds, there wouldn't be shows like this one. This theme song comes from the reality show Laguna Beach, which aired on MTV from September 28, 2004 until November the 15th, 2006. The series aired for 3 seasons, and this show focused on the lives of several high school students attending Laguna Beach High School. This reality show was awesome. And folks, I believe they have this on Netflix or Hulu. I encourage folks to go and listen or watch this reality show. You won't be able to look away. You won't. It is very dated because it is in 2004 and 2005, and let's be honest, we live in a completely different world now, but the cast on this show is so charming and so dramatic, you can't take your eyes off of them. All of the reality shows that you see today, like the Bad Girls Club and the Real Housewives, they have nothing on Laguna Beach, what this show was. Now, the theme song was performed by Hilary Duff, and it's called Come Clean. It blows my mind that this show was on in 2004 because that means that the cast, who were 17, 18 at the time, are now in their 30s, late 30s, mid 30s, like me, because they were high school students my age, and that was so long ago. Look at their age now. It was this show that introduced the world to the famous Lauren Conrad, who is now a fashion designer, Kristen Cavallari, who went on to marry Jay Cutler, a quarterback from the Chicago Bears, and Stephen Colletti. Everybody watched this show for the love triangle between Lauren Conrad, Stephen Colletti, and Kristen Cavallari. But a great theme song. Definitely iconic. All right, coming up next on the list is going to be this little gem right here. It is Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. And this theme song is from the reality show The Hills, which aired on MTV from May 2006 until July 2010. And this was a spinoff of the reality show Laguna Beach, which I just played. This show, arguably, is more famous than Laguna Beach. This show, arguably, was more successful than its predecessor, Laguna Beach. So this show, The Hills, focused on the Laguna Beach castmate Lauren Conrad as she moved from Laguna Beach to LA to start her life in LA and in the fashion world, and cameras followed her around. Again, folks, a guilty pleasure of mine. These shows, they don't make shows like this no more. They were amazing. They were amazing. They have, I know for a fact, all of the Hills episodes on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, go check it out. Once you start watching these episodes, you won't be able to stop. This show is very similar to what Laguna Beach was. It follows the lives of these young people. And they go to clubs, they go to parties, it follows them at work, it follows them at school. And you get to watch their drama unfold. And keep in mind, it's real. Now, The Hills became more and more scripted as it went along, but those first few seasons were very, very real. So this song, Unwritten, was written and performed by Natasha Bedingfield, and it became the theme song for MTV's The Hills. It reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming her first top 10 hit in the United States. I would say the reason it got so big was because of this show. Anytime that you can get your song on a TV show of any kind, whether it be played in the background of a scene or especially the theme song of a show, it's going to make that song very popular. Because keep in mind, every time the show is aired, they're going to play the theme song. So think about how many viewers saw or listened to this theme song every week, because The Hills was a very successful reality show. All right, coming up next on the list is one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. Might possibly be one of the most iconic reality shows of all time. This is the reality theme song of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Keeping Up with the Kardashians took on a life of its own because it aired in 2007 and lasted for nearly 15 years. It ended in 2021. Its premise originated with Ryan Seacrest being the producer, and it aired on E! Television. This show has become one of the longest running reality television series in the United States. I don't know what it is about the Kardashians, but they do not go away. People love to watch them. They love to read about them. They're fascinated with the Kardashians. They have been pegged as being famous for being famous. And it's because of the reality show. And that's made them more famous than what they started out as. They really wasn't a famous family before the reality show. Yes, you had Bruce Jenner, who was a decorated athlete. You had Kris Jenner, who was known for being married to the famous lawyer Robert Kardashian. And then you had Kim Kardashian, who was just known for hanging out with Paris Hilton in her spare time because Paris was her best friend. But it was because of this reality show that made everybody love the Kardashians. And this was their original theme. Now, they have went on to have several themes for the reality show, but I feel like that it's this one that sticks out the most. All right, coming up next on the list is one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time, is going to come from the Jersey Shore. This theme song for the Jersey Shore is called Get Crazy, and it was released as the album's first promotional single for the rap group LMFAO. It was released in July of 2009. So this song was released before it became the theme song of Jersey Shore. They released the song in July of 2009, and Jersey Shore premiered in December of 2009 and lasted until December 20th, 2012. This reality show focused on the lives of 8 housemates at a vacation home in the seaside heights of New Jersey on the Jersey Shore. And this show, again, was a pop culture phenomenon. It took on a life of its own. People were crazy about this show when it first started. I was in college when this show first aired, and people couldn't get enough of it. These were just 20-year-olds were living in a vacation house. They had never met before the reality show started. It was the reality show that brought them together. So they lived in this house together, and they would go to work together because they all worked at a t-shirt shop, and they would come home and get ready to go out that night. And that's what they did every single week, and people couldn't stop watching. Artists probably don't mind at all that when somebody hears their song and the first thing they think of is the show they heard it from. They probably don't get upset with that, because you might think an artist might get jealous that they don't think of them first, but instead they think of the reality show. I would say the artist doesn't care as long as you recognize their music. I think that this song matches perfectly with the theme and the vibe of Jersey Shore. It's very partyish, it's crazy, it's upbeat, it's out of control, it's wild, and that's exactly how the Jersey Shore was as a reality show. T-shirt time! I loved it. They would call girls they found unattractive grenades. And they would always blow a horn when they found an unattractive girl in this show. They'd go, Rah! They wouldn't get by with that today. All right, coming up next on the list is one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. Comes from The Girls Next Door, which was a series that focused on the lives of Hugh Hefner's girlfriends who lived with him at the Playboy Mansion. This series was created by executive producer Kevin Burns and Hugh Hefner, and it was founded by Playboy magazine. The series premiered on the E! Cable network on August the 7th, 2005, and ran for 6 seasons. The first 5 seasons centered around his then-girlfriends Holly Madison, Bridget Marquette, and Kendra Wilkinson. It's amazing that Hugh Hefner had 5 girlfriends. And when they get to a certain age, like 24, he dumps them and gets younger girls. But for the time being, for at least 5 seasons, those were his girlfriends. And they had a reality show that kind of invited cameras in there and let you see behind the curtain of what it was like in the Playboy Mansion, what it was like being Hugh Hefner's girlfriend. It's definitely a different world, and it would have to be its own bubble to be one of Hugh Hefner's girlfriends. But this theme song is called Come On a My House, and it was performed by Rosemary Clooney, and it's from the 1950s. It was written by Ross Baxterian and his cousin Armerion. This song was first performed during a 1950 Broadway production of The Sun, but did not become a hit until the release of Rosemary Clooney's recording in 1951. Now, the people who played this on the reality show was the Nasty Tales and their orchestra. And those were the people who played their cover of The Girls Next Door. All right, coming up next as one of the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time is this one, Jackass. Which is just an instrumental song. Now, just like Cops, you're going to be hard-pressed to find someone who's never heard of Jackass before. I love this show. Jackass is a show where you've just got a bunch of friends getting together and doing stupid stunts that are very dangerous. And it says clearly at the beginning of each of their shows not to try any of their stunts at home because it is not for regular amateurs to do. But this song that they use, this instrumental for Jackass, is called Corona. And this is a protest song. And it's by American punk rock band Minutemen. It was included as the 7th song on the second side of their 3rd studio album, Double Nickels, on the Dime in 1984. The song was composed by lead singer and guitarist Boone and produced by Ethan James. Now, this is the theme song for Jackass, but most people don't really remember the lyrics. They just remember the instrumental beat. All right, one more on the list, and I know people at home are thinking, thank God, because I have lost so many brain cells listening to Adam talk about reality television. But you've got to put this one on there to end out the list. And this is from another show that was right around that time of Laguna Beach and the Hills and Newlyweds with Nick and Jessica, The Ashlee Simpson Show. The Ashlee Simpson Show is a reality show that followed the life of Ashlee Simpson, who is the younger sister of Jessica Simpson. It was a very successful show for MTV, and she got her start because of her sister, obviously, but her reality show was very successful. The first season taped from late 2003 to mid-2004, and it focused on the beginnings of Ashlee Simpson trying to make it in the music career. The theme song that they used for this reality show was one of Ashlee's first singles, Autobiography. Ashlee released her song Autobiography in 2004, and it was a very successful song. Who knows if people liked it for what it was, or if people liked it because they resonated this with the reality show. It's amazing how fast Ashlee Simpson got famous, but her fall was as abrupt as her beginning, because her career was pretty much over after she was caught lip syncing on Saturday Night Live. It was after that incident that people no longer wanted to hear her sing. They no longer wanted to watch her television show, so they canceled her show. She never really released another successful song, and that's very unfortunate because she did have talent. But a great song nonetheless. And that, folks, pretty much wraps up the most iconic reality show theme songs of all time. If there was a show that I left off that I did not put on the list, please feel free to write on the show thread on Facebook.com/offthecuff-with-Adam-Banks. Nikki on the show thread says, now I have the Cops theme song stuck in my head. Thanks. It's easy to do. That's why these shows are so appealing, because they're easy to get stuck in your head. But that, folks, I felt like needed to be talked about, because you don't hear people talk about reality show theme songs. You always hear them talk about reality TV and the storylines in them, but we can't leave out the great and fantastic reality theme songs that go along with it. All right, folks, we're going to have to take another quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Did you know a person hitting a windshield in a 40-mile-an-hour crash feels the same force as someone falling off a 5-story building? Hi, this is Justin with Toyota, reminding you that seat belts are the most effective safety feature on your vehicle. They can reduce the risk of fatal injury up to 60%. Let's go, Lexington, safely. Buckle up.
You don't have to contribute to Radio Lex to continue listening, but we hope that you will support your friends and neighbors as they create original, hyper-local programming 24/7 in English on WLXU 93.9 FM and in Spanish on WLXL 95.7 FM. It takes a great community to make great community radio. Radio Lex can't do it without you. Support the voice of the people today. Visit radiolex.us/donate and support Lexington's community radio right now.
More than 150,000 collisions took place on Kentucky roads last year. The number one factor in all these collisions, not paying attention. Hi, this is Josh Haynes with State Farm, reminding you to be a good neighbor. Keep your eyes and your mind on the road.
Radio Lex has the support of vinyl sponsor Susie Escobar, Realtor with Allied Realty. Thanks, Susie.
Show. They call me the mighty rule. How you living? It's real. Keep choking. Don't answer my gangster. The real question.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. I announced last week on the show that Off the Cuff was going to be incorporating a permanent segment starting week to week, and that will be Off the Cuff's quote of the week. So, the quote of the week for this week is by Michael Altshuler. Now, Michael Altshuler is a serial entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, and sales expert from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the quote is this: "The bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot." I love that quote because it's very true. We all know that time does fly. It does. It slows down for nobody, and life relatively on this earth is very short. At most, what maybe will we live? 100 years? Think about that. That is just a speck on, that's just a speck on the map. Your time on this earth is very, very limited, and it's not long. The duration is not long at all, and time flies. I'm already done with 35 years of my life. So if I do make it to 100, I'm already on number 35. Now, as they say, 100, anything over 100 is an absolute miracle or blessing. So it's very unlikely that people even make it to 100. We always just assume that people will, but for the most part, people don't. But the good news is that we have control of our lives. Nobody else does. We can take it in any direction that we want to. The biggest mistake we can make is not realizing that we just have a few years in the scheme of things to live our lives. And when I say few, I don't mean 3. I'm talking about 80 to 100 years, which is so small. But we have to realize that we are the ones that produce our own lives. We're the director, we're the producer. We control how we live our lives. So it's up to you on how you want to live it. If you have a dream, go out there and do it. If you have something you've always wanted to go out and try, eat, stay at, play at, do for a living, do as a hobby, do it. You have control over it. Nobody can stop you from doing what you want to do. You have complete control over what you want to do. I have created the life that I live for myself because I made the decisions to do so. You might look and say, oh, Adam, you have a very cool life. You're on the radio. You get to teach college. You get to do this. But the reason I get to do all of that is because I created the life that I wanted for myself. I'm the pilot. I'm the one that decided to go to school, to get the education, to teach school. I decided to put in the hard work and experience to get on the radio. I know what I want and I go after it. And you folks can do the exact same thing. Time flies. There's no doubt about it. But the good news is you are the pilot. You have to love that. There's no other truer statement than that right there. So that, folks, is going to be the quote of the week. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it is now time to take Off the Cuff's Song of the Week. And we're going to listen to a little Kid Rock all summer long because it's summertime. We'll be back after the song.
Thought my hair was long, caught somewhere between a boy and man.
The NFL draft happened last Thursday, so I want to go over the results. The Carolina Panthers had the first pick, and they picked Bryce Young. And what's interesting about these players that got picked is how much daggone money that they make. So I'm going to go over the picks, and I'm going to tell you the contract that they signed. So first round gets $12.27 million to $39.75 million. So anybody that made it in the first round makes from the range of $12.27 million minimum to $39.75 million minimum. That is absolutely unbelievable. So Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young was the quarterback from Alabama. Houston, Texas drafted C.J. Stroud, the quarterback from Ohio State. Houston Texans also in the third pick drafted Will Anderson, and he was from Alabama. Indiana Colts drafted a quarterback, Anthony Richardson from Florida, and then Seattle Seahawks with the fifth pick drafted Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, and he was a cornerback. Now listen, if you want the full list of the draft results, you can check that out on ESPN.com. People here in Kentucky were wondering where Will Levis would go. What a night for Will Levis. What an embarrassing, humiliating night for Will Levis, because he attended the first round of the draft, because he was told by many, many people that he was going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick. Not only was he not a top 5 NFL draft pick, he did not even get drafted in the first round. He was drafted as the second pick in the second round, 33rd overall by the Tennessee Titans. Whether or not that's a good pick for the Titans, I don't know. If you're going to ask me about Will Levis, I think he was a little overhyped. I don't know if he can be as successful as the quarterbacks drafted in front of him, at least not the first 3. But Will Levis going top 5 was a little out there anyway. So I'm not going to say that it was shocking, but it was definitely humiliating for Will Levis, because the camera kept panning on him during the draft because he looked very uncomfortable. He looked embarrassed. And he kept looking at his phone, and he kept acting like that it wasn't bothering him because he was shaking and jiving and just acting like he was having a good old time. But we know he was screaming inside of embarrassment. His girlfriend was there. His girlfriend got a lot of attention online. I think TMZ even reported that Will Levis is the one or his girlfriend was the one who stole the show at the NFL draft. And what was interesting is when they had the second round draft the next day, because they don't air the second round on the same night as the first, Will Levis didn't go in person to the draft. He did it at home. Who can blame him? Who would want to sit through that again? But his girlfriend, who was all over him in the first round, was nowhere to be seen on television in the second round. Now, that tells me one of two things. Either he told her, hey, I don't want you stealing my thunder like you did last time, or she dumped him because she wanted that first round money and not the second round money. Now, I'm being tongue-in-cheek here. If you go on his Instagram, I guarantee you he's probably posted a picture of him and his girlfriend since, and those who know Will personally probably think I'm full of it, and they're like, well, he don't know what he's talking about. Will was with his girlfriend last night. To each their own. Congratulations to them. It was still a humiliating night for the Kentucky quarterback, but he did go to the Tennessee Titans. Chris Rodriguez, the running back for Kentucky, was drafted 193 overall to the Washington Commodores. So 2 Kentucky players definitely were called during that draft. But let's go over their contracts. Bryce Young is going to make $41.2 million. C.J. Stroud is going to make $39.4 million. Will Anderson Jr. is going to make $38.2 million. Anthony Richardson is going to make $36.9 million. And Devin Witherspoon is going to make $34.5 million. And those are 5-year contracts. So they will make that money over a 5-year span. Unbelievable. How much will Will Levis make? People are asking. Well, according to estimates, it says here that his contract is valued at a total of $9.54 million. So, hey, Will Levis gets the last laugh. $9.54 million is a lot of money. And that includes a sign-on bonus for $3.94 million. Pretty nice. Now, the second round, they make anywhere from $6.17 million to $9.91 million. Third round makes anywhere from $5.36 million to $5.85 million. Fourth round, anywhere from $4.37 million to $4.72 million. Fifth round, anywhere from $4.9 million to $4.22 million. Sixth round, anywhere from $3.98 million to $4.6 million. And the seventh round, the very last round, listen here, anywhere from $3.92 million to $3.96 million. They're all in the millions. If you get drafted anywhere on the draft board, you're going to have a great night, regardless of where you go. Will Levis, yes, he had a great night. He signed a nice contract, and he got on a pretty decent team. But he still lost millions of dollars. Like I said, he was projected to be a top 5 pick. Those guys were making anywhere from $25 to $30 to $35 million on their contract. And Will Levis signed to $9 million. Now, I'm not here to say that that's not a lot of money, but compared to what he could have made, that is a lot of money that he lost. He lost that much money. And only time will tell with how he'll do in the NFL. And that's with any of these guys. But that, folks, is just a little rundown of the NFL draft. But we still have one more segment to go here on Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
imirire myiza yongera ubudahangarwa bw'umubiri wawe ifasha imibiri yacu kwirinda kurwanya no gukira indwara zandura nka covid-19. ibyo duhisemo kurya byadufasha kwirinda umubyibuho ukabije, indwara y'umutima, diyabete ndetse n'amoko amwe n'amwe ya kanseri. irinde, fata ingamba. ubu butumwa burabugezwaho na Radio Lex, radiyo y'abaturage yacu. menya byinshi kuri Radio Lex /news.
Radio Lex has the support of corner sponsor, Bluegrass Community Foundation, bgcf.org.
It's like, I've been smooth for so long, I'm trying to get rough, but from
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. This is the new single from Jack Harlow. It's called They Don't Love It. And this is his newest single off his new album, Jackman, which is a self-titled album. A lot of people don't know that Jack Harlow's first name is not Jack. It's actually Jackman. I feel like that's a cool name, Jackman. So if I had a cool name like that, I would definitely put it on my album as the name as well. The Kentucky Derby is this Saturday. It will be presented by Woodford Reserve, and it's the 149th Kentucky Derby. So grab your collector's glass for that. It will take place this Saturday, May the 6th. It's always the second Saturday in May, and it will be at the historic Churchill Downs Racetrack in Louisville, Kentucky. The race is open to 20 horses who qualified for the race by earning points on the 2023 Road to the Kentucky Derby. But folks, what I find bizarre about the Kentucky Derby this year is all of the recent deaths that has happened at Churchill Downs, the iconic racetrack. 4 horses have died since last week, and that's cause for a lot of concern. Parents' Pride last Saturday and Chasing Artie died last Tuesday. 2 other horses sustained critical injuries from which they couldn't recover. They were named Wild on Ice and Take Charge Brianna. They both had to be euthanized for humane reasons. That's very sad. When horses get injured, a lot of the times they do have to be put down because it would be inhumane to keep them alive, because a horse their livelihood is to be stallions, is to be strong, is to be healthy, is to be able to run and be active. And when they sustain these injuries that no longer allows them to do that, they put them down. And unfortunately, 4 deaths just in the last week have happened. The purse this year will be $3 million, and that will be split between the jockey, the owner, and the trainer. 40 is the 3-1 favorite in the 2023 Kentucky Derby odds, while Tabit Trice is 5-1 and Kingsbarns is 12-1. So you can put all of those in there for a little trifecta and hope to make a little money, or you could always be safe and go with the favorite. Last year, if you remember, the horse with the largest odds and the worst odds lost or won the entire thing. And if you would have had something like $1 on it, you would have won $100. So imagine the people that put $10, $20, $30 on it. So it never hurts to look at the horse that don't have the best odds. If you want to make a lot of money, you don't always pick the favorites. I don't really know the best bets to put together to make the most money. It's always good to talk about somebody who does know what they're doing when they're betting on horses, but there's always potential to be made at the Kentucky Derby, and it's going to be exciting this year because it's the most exciting minute in sports. I'll be going to the Red Mile this Saturday, hopefully to place my bets on the Kentucky Derby, so I hope to see you guys out there. But folks, that pretty much wraps up another episode of Off the Cuff. If you liked what you heard today, you will probably like our previous episodes. So subscribe to the show on podcast. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you stream your favorite podcast. You can follow the show on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can follow me, the host, on social media at The Adam Banks. I release new episodes every Thursday from 4 to 5 right here on WLXU 93.9 FM, which means I will be back next week, same time, same channel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I'm Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. I'll catch you down the road.